In the heart of a vast, sun-baked desert lay the ancient city of Zafira, a place where time seemed to fold upon itself, and history whispered through the swirling sands. Amidst narrow alleys lined with ochre walls and bustling bazaars filled with the scent of spices, there stood a humble mud brick house that held the beating heart of a family legacy. This was the home of the Kader family, renowned throughout the land for weaving the most exquisite carpets ever seen. Their workshop occupied the ground floor, a fragrant sanctuary where dyed wool spun stories in vibrant threads and intricate patterns. Alam Kader, the patriarch, was a master weaver whose hands had danced across looms for decades. His deep-set eyes held the wisdom of many seasons, and the pride of generations hung thick in the air like the scent of freshly dyed wool. Beside him sat his wife, Layla, weaving side by side with their eldest sons Omar and Rashid, their fingers deftly intertwining yarn with a grace born of countless hours of practice. But today, the spotlight was on their youngest son, Aaron. Unlike his family, Aaron's hands trembled slightly when he tried to weave. The thread slipped through his fingers like water, and the loom seemed an impossible puzzle. He watched from the corner, a mixture of frustration and awe swelling inside him. Aaron was a curious boy of 12 summers, his dark curls wild like desert winds, and eyes reflecting the endless sky. His heart, however, was restless. Though he loved his family deeply, a part of him dreamed beyond the patterned walls of their workshop. Every morning, after the morning call to prayer echoed through Zafira's winding streets, Aaron set off to school, eager to learn not just numbers and letters, but stories of distant lands and stars. His favorite subject was astronomy, a fascination inspired by the shimmering constellations that blanketed the night sky. At school, Aaron often lost himself in daydreams. He imagined riding across deserts on a swift stallion, carrying precious goods to faraway cities. He pictured himself studying under great scholars, unraveling cosmic secrets, or even discovering a new star that bore his name. Yet, as the sun dipped low each day, the pull of home, of vibrant carpets and familiar voices drew him back. The scent of spiced rice cooking in the hearth, the laughter of his brothers, and the gentle smile of Layla welcomed him as surely as the desert welcomed the cool night breeze. One evening, as the family gathered around a low wooden table, Layla served Aaron's favorite dish, saffron rice with roasted vegetables and tender lamb, rich with spices carried from distant lands. Along ancient trade routes, the flickering candlelight danced across the faces of the family, casting shadows that seemed to weave their own tapestry upon the walls. After the meal, Aaron slipped away to the workshop. The room was quiet except for the rhythmic clatter of looms and the soft rustle of wool. He approached the largest carpet on display, a masterpiece that had taken months to complete. Its deep burgundy background shimmered with threads of silver and gold, forming the legendary tree of life at its center. Each branch dripped with embroidered fruit, and 4 unique gardens bloomed in each corner, alive with delicate animals and lush foliage. Aaron ran his fingers along the carpet's surface, feeling the soft wool and tracing the winding patterns. A shiver of magic seemed to ripple through him, as if the carpet whispered secrets from a forgotten time. Suddenly, a soft voice broke his reverie. "Do you see the story this carpet tells, Aaron?" Startled, he turned to find his grandmother, Miriam, standing beside him. Her eyes sparkled like the stars he loved so much, and her silver hair framed a face etched with kindness and years of wisdom. "This carpet is not just a decoration," she continued. "It holds the history of our family and our city, the dreams, struggles, and hopes woven into every thread." Aaron nodded slowly. "I want to learn to weave like you, Grandma. But the loom, it's so hard." Miriam smiled gently. "Patience, my child. Every master was once a beginner. The loom teaches us not only to weave, but to listen to the stories, to the land, and most importantly, to ourselves." Inspired by her words, Aaron felt a spark ignite within him. Though he doubted his skill, he understood that his journey was just beginning. As the night deepened, the workshop glowed softly under the moonlight filtering through latticed windows. Outside, the city of Zafira slept, wrapped in the embrace of desert stars. And inside the humble mud brick house, the legacy of the Kader family continued to grow one thread at a time. The dawn broke over Zafira, casting golden light upon the dusty streets and illuminating the ancient city walls that had stood watch for centuries. But while the city awoke to a new day, a different kind of awakening stirred deep within the Kader household. Aaron awoke with a restless energy. Memories of last night's conversation with his grandmother Miriam clung to his mind like the morning mist. The loom's mysteries now beckoned to him in a way they never had before. With hurried steps, he made his way to the workshop. The familiar scent of dyed wool and beeswax filled the air, but today there was an undercurrent of tension, almost like the room itself held its breath. His parents, Alim and Layla, were already at their looms, fingers flying with practiced ease. Omar and Rashid exchanged focused glances as they worked, but their expressions carried a shadow of worry. "Good morning, Aaron," his father said, voice steady but edged with something unreadable. "You're early." Aaron nodded, his eyes catching a glimpse of something unusual, a small box, ornately carved from sandalwood, resting on the work table beside the looms. It was sealed tightly, yet it radiated a strange warmth, as if alive. Curiosity tugged at him. "What's that, father?" Alim hesitated, then exchanged a look with Layla. "It is something from the city's council," he said quietly. "An ancient relic, said to be connected to the origin of our craft. We were entrusted to protect it and to unlock its secrets." The box seemed to hum softly in Aaron's palm as he gingerly touched it. Suddenly, a faint shimmer of light flickered from the carved symbols. Aaron's breath caught. "Be careful," Layla warned. "Some things from the past are better left undisturbed." But Aaron's curiosity was a flame that would not be quelled. That evening, after the family had finished their work, he sat alone by the flickering candlelight and began to examine the box in detail. Intricate patterns twisted and coiled over its surface, vines, stars, and what looked like tiny figures dancing between threads. As he traced the carvings, a whisper seemed to brush his ear, faint and indistinct. Suddenly, the box clicked open. Inside lay a small, folded piece of parchment. The ink was faded but legible, an ancient map, marking hidden places beneath Zephyra, tunnels forgotten by time, secret chambers beneath the city's foundation. His heart raced. Could these places hold the key to the magic woven into their family's carpets? Was there more to their craft than mere skill and patience? Aaron knew he had to find out. The next morning, he confided in his best friend, Nadia, a clever girl with sharp eyes and an adventurous spirit. Together, they pored over the map in secret, tracing paths through the labyrinthine streets and beneath the city's stones. As the days passed, strange things began to happen in the workshop. Threads would tangle on their own. Patterns on the carpet seemed to shift subtly when no one was looking. And sometimes, when the moon was full, faint glowing symbols appeared along the edges of the oldest rugs. The family elders exchanged worried glances, whispering of an old legend, the Weaver's secret, a mystical power that could grant the Weaver dominion over fate itself, but at a great cost. One evening, while Aaron and Nadia explored a forgotten passage beneath the city, they discovered a cavern filled with ancient looms carved from stone, their threads shimmering with a ghostly light. In the center lay a tapestry unlike any Aaron had ever seen, a living map of the stars, shifting and swirling as if breathing. But suddenly, a shadow moved in the darkness. "Who dares enter the Weaver's chamber?" a deep voice echoed. Heart-pounding, Aaron stepped forward. "We seek the truth about our craft," he said bravely. "And the legacy of the Cater family." From the shadows emerged a figure cloaked in midnight blue, eyes glowing like twin moons. "You may find more than you bargained for," the stranger warned. And with that, the loom of fate began to weave a new pattern, one that would change Aaron's life, and the destiny of Zephyra, forever. Aaron stood frozen as the cloaked figure's words echoed through the cavern's silence. The Weaver's chamber, hidden beneath the ancient city of Zephyra, was a place out of time, its stone walls inscribed with glowing runes that pulsed faintly like the heartbeat of the earth. Nadia, ever bold, stepped beside Aaron, her eyes fierce despite the flicker of uncertainty. "We come seeking knowledge," she declared. "The legacy of our families, the true power behind the carpets we weave." The figure's glowing eyes softened for a moment, then he motioned for them to follow deeper into the chamber. "Few have dared to enter this sacred place. Your courage speaks well of you. But the truth you seek is bound by an ancient pact, the Weaver's pact, forged long ago between those who master the loom and the spirits of the threads." As they moved through winding corridors of stone looms and unfinished tapestries shimmering with spectral light, the stranger recounted the legend. Long before the city rose from the desert, the first weavers made a covenant with the spirit of threads, a mystical entity that breathed life into every strand of wool. In exchange for their devotion and skill, the spirit granted the weavers the power to infuse their creations with magic, to protect, to heal, or sometimes, to curse. But such power, the figure warned, comes at a price. The weaver must never lose sight of balance. The threads bind not only the craft but the very soul. To weave recklessly is to unravel fate itself. Aaron's mind raced. Could his family's carpets, with their enchanting beauty and the stories woven within, be vessels of this ancient magic? The figure paused before a tapestry so vast it seemed to stretch endlessly, its colors shifting through shades of twilight and dawn. This is the loom of fate. It records the weavings of those bound by the pact. Suddenly, a breeze stirred through the chamber, carrying with it whispers like forgotten songs. The threads of the tapestry began to move, forming images of past weavers' faces of his ancestors, their hands steady, their eyes resolute. Among them, Aaron spotted a figure that resembled his grandmother Miriam, her smile serene yet mysterious. "Your bloodline," the stranger said, "carries a rare gift, but also a great burden. The pact chose you long ago, and now it calls to you." Aaron swallowed hard. "What must I do?" "To become a true weaver of fate, you must journey beyond this chamber, beyond the city, and seek the 3 sacred threads, fragments of the spirit's essence scattered across the land. Only then will you unlock the full power of the loom." Nadia's eyes widened. "And if you fail?" "The consequences could be dire. The threads could unravel, bringing chaos to your family, your city, even the world." A heavy silence fell. Aaron's heart pounded with a mixture of fear and determination. He glanced at Nadia, who nodded firmly. "I will do it," he said. "For my family, for Zafira." The stranger inclined his head. "Very well. But you will not be alone. The pact will send a guardian to aid you." From the shadows stepped a figure cloaked in shimmering silver, a young woman with eyes like molten gold and hair that flowed like silk. "I am sorry," she said softly. "A weaver's guardian, bound to protect those chosen by the pact. Together, we will find the sacred threads." Back in the Cater home, news of the ancient pact stirred excitement and apprehension. Alim and Layla shared stories of their ancestors' struggles, sacrifices made to honor the weaver's pact. The family gathered to prepare Aaron for his journey, weaving protective charms into his garments and blessing his path with ancient prayers. But not all welcomed the awakening of the pact. In the shadowed corners of Zafira's markets, murmurs spoke of a rival clan, the Sharif family, who coveted the power of the sacred threads for their own dark ambitions. Omar, Aaron's eldest brother, clenched his fists. "We must guard our legacy," he warned. "The Sharifs will stop at nothing." As the sun set, painting the sky with strokes of crimson and violet, Aaron packed his satchel, heart heavy but resolute. With Sari by his side and Nadia ready to support from afar, he stepped into the unknown. The road ahead was treacherous, winding through deserts scorched by the sun, forests whispered to be haunted, and ruins lost to time. But within Aaron burned the fire of destiny to become a weaver not just of carpets, but of fate itself. And so, beneath the watchful stars, the first thread of his epic journey was woven into the tapestry of legend. The morning air carried a biting chill as Aaron, Sari, and Nadia stood at the threshold of Zafira, the ancient city now fading behind them like a cherished dream. Their journey toward the sacred threads had begun, but none could have predicted the trials fate had spun for them. Sari unfurled the ancient map, its edges curling and the ink shimmering faintly under the rising sun. Our first destination, she said, tracing a finger across the parchment, is the oasis of mirages, a place both beautiful and deceptive. The first sacred thread lies hidden there, guarded by the trials of perception. Nadia's eyes flickered with excitement and apprehension. Trials of perception. Sounds like a test for more than just our eyes. Aaron swallowed hard, gripping the satchel that held the precious relics and provisions. Then we must be prepared for anything. The desert stretched endlessly, a sea of golden dunes rippling under the scorching sun. As they walked, the heat shimmered above the sand, and mirages flickered on the horizon. Palm trees, pools of water, cool shade illusions that mocked their thirst and tested their resolve. On the second day, the trio reached the oasis, a lush sanctuary of verdant palms and sparkling water. Yet, as they stepped inside, the air shifted. Colors intensified, sounds distorted. The oasis was alive with illusions, each more beguiling than the last. "Stay close," Sari warned, eyes narrowing. "The trials have begun." The first challenge was the mirror of echoes. Aaron approached a calm pool that reflected not his own face, but scenes from his past, moments of doubt, fear, and fleeting hope. Suddenly, whispers rose from the water, taunting him. "You will never be a true weaver. You lack the skill. Give up." Pain knotted in Aaron's chest, but Sari's voice broke through. "Remember the pact. Your strength is more than your hands." Drawing a deep breath, Aaron reached out and touched the water. The reflections shattered like glass, and the whispers faded. Next came the maze of sands, shifting dunes that rearranged themselves with every step. Nadia led, using her sharp instincts to navigate through ever-changing paths, while Aaron felt the weight of the desert pressing against his resolve. As night fell, the trio camped beneath a blanket of stars. Sari revealed stories of previous weavers who had failed these trials, lost forever in the desert's embrace. Aaron looked up at the constellations, feeling both insignificant and connected. The Weaver's Pact was more than magic, it was a bond to the universe itself. On the third day, they found a shrine of threads, a sunken temple half buried beneath the sands. Within its heart lay the first sacred thread, a single golden strand glowing with otherworldly light. But guarding it was a guardian unlike any Aaron had imagined, a massive sand serpent, its scales shimmering like polished amber, eyes burning with ancient wisdom. The beast coiled and hissed, testing the trespassers with riddles and challenges that probed their minds and spirits. "Answer true, or be swallowed by the sands," it warned. With Sari's guidance and Nadia's wit, Aaron faced each riddle, recalling lessons from his family, the stories his grandmother told, and the wisdom within his own heart. Finally, the serpent bowed, uncoiling and revealing the sacred thread. Aaron carefully took the strand, feeling warmth and power surge through him. But with it came a heavy responsibility, a voice whispered in his mind, reminding him of the Pact's price. As they left the oasis, the desert seemed to sigh, its mirages fading, the sands settling once more. Yet, the journey was far from over. Ahead lay the forest of whispers, the ruins of the forgotten, and challenges that would test the limits of their courage, friendship, and destiny. But for now, beneath the endless sky, Aaron felt a spark of hope. He was no longer just a boy struggling with threads, he was a weaver of fate, and his story was just beginning. The journey from the sun-scorched sands of the oasis of mirages led Aaron, Sari, and Nadia into a realm of stark contrast, the Forest of Whispers. It was said to be a place where the trees held memories older than the city itself, and where the wind carried secrets meant only for the worthy. As they stepped beneath the thick canopy, the air grew cool and heavy with the scent of pine and earth. Shafts of sunlight pierced through the leaves, creating dancing patterns on the moss-covered ground. But the forest was alive in a way that unsettled even Sari's calm demeanor. "Listen carefully," she whispered. "The forest speaks, but only to those who know how to hear." At first, Aaron heard nothing but the rustle of leaves and distant bird calls. But gradually, beneath those sounds, came faint murmurs, voices weaving through the breeze, calling names, telling tales. Nadia shivered. "I don't like this place. It feels watched." They pressed forward, the whispers growing clearer. The voices seemed to guide them, twisting and turning like the roots beneath their feet. Suddenly, a soft glow emerged ahead, the entrance to the ruins of the Forgotten, an ancient temple swallowed by the forest centuries ago. The trio exchanged uneasy looks. This was the place marked on the ancient map as their next destination. Inside the ruins, shadows played tricks, and the scent of damp stone filled the air. Walls were covered with faded murals depicting weavers, spirits, and battles fought in a time long past. Aaron traced his fingers over one mural, a weaving hand reaching toward a radiant orb. This must be the second sacred thread. As they ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, filling the chamber with an eerie chorus. Suddenly, the floor trembled, and the walls began to shift, sealing the exits. "We've triggered a guardian," Sari said grimly. From the shadows emerged a figure neither fully spirit nor human, an ethereal weaver's shade tasked with protecting the sacred threads. The shade's voice was a haunting melody, weaving riddles that tested their hearts. "Tell me, seekers, what binds the weaver to fate? Is it thread, skill, or heart?" Aaron thought deeply. "It is the heart," he replied. "Without heart, the threads are lifeless." The shade's form shimmered, then nodded. "True. But the heart must be pure. Prove your worth." Suddenly, visions flooded Aaron's mind, memories of his family's love, struggles, and sacrifices. He saw his grandmother's patient hands, his mother's gentle smile, and the laughter shared with his brothers. Tears streamed down his face as he accepted the responsibility of his lineage. The shade stepped aside, revealing the second sacred thread, a silver strand pulsing with moonlight. But as Aaron reached for it, a shadow loomed behind him, a figure draped in dark robes, eyes glinting with malice. It was Malik Sharif, heir of the rival clan. "You think you can claim the power of the Weaver's Pact?" Malik sneered. "The Sharifs will control destiny, not the Qadrs." A fierce battle erupted, threads of magic weaving through the air, spells clashing, wills tested. With Sari's swift interventions and Nadia's clever tactics, Aaron narrowly escaped, clutching the silver thread tightly. The ruins trembled, threatening to collapse. They fled into the forest, breathless but determined. As the sun set, casting long shadows, Aaron realized the true cost of their quest. The rivalry between clans was not just for power, but for the very soul of their craft. Yet, strengthened by trials and the bonds of friendship, Aaron vowed to continue. For his family, for Zafira, and for the balance woven into fate itself. The forest behind them whispered in the fading light as Aaron, Sari, and Nadia made their way toward the final destination marked on the ancient map, the Cavern of Echoes. It was said to be a place where the boundary between past and present thinned, where voices of the ancestors lingered like mist. Aaron's hands trembled slightly as he held the two sacred threads close. The golden thread from the oasis, warm like the sun's embrace, and the silver strand from the ruins, cold and shimmering like moonlight. Together, they pulsed with a quiet power, a promise of what was yet to come. As night fell, they set up camp near the cavern's entrance, the sky a tapestry of stars above them. Sari sat by the fire, her gaze distant. The third thread, she said softly, is the most elusive. It's said to carry the spirit's very essence, the heart of the weaver's pact. Nadia shivered. And guarded by what? Sari's eyes flickered with shadows. The guardian of memories, a force that tests the soul, revealing truths you may fear. Aaron lay back on the cool earth, staring up at the stars. The weight of his destiny pressed heavily on his young shoulders. He thought of his family, their hopes, sacrifices, and the legacy they entrusted to him. Suddenly, a whisper brushed his ear, soft as the desert wind. Are you ready to face yourself? He sat up sharply, heart pounding. The cavern's mouth loomed before them, a dark maw swallowed by the mountain's shadow. With resolve, the trio stepped inside. The air was thick with ancient magic, shimmering threads of light weaving through the darkness. As they ventured deeper, visions surrounded them, memories of their past, fears, and desires made manifest. Aaron found himself face to face with shadows of his doubts, his failures at the loom, his fears of inadequacy. But also with glimmers of hope, his grandmother's encouragement, his family's love. Suddenly, the cavern shifted, revealing a chamber bathed in ethereal light. At its center floated the third sacred thread, a radiant strand pulsating with pure energy, unlike anything Aaron had ever seen. But before he could reach it, a figure stepped forward, a woman cloaked in midnight, eyes glowing with ancient wisdom. I am Niera, guardian of memories, she intoned. To claim the final thread, you must confront your true self. Aaron nodded, heart steady. I am ready. Niera's voice echoed as visions unfolded, his deepest fears, his dreams, and the choices he must make. Through trials of courage, compassion, and sacrifice, Aaron faced the parts of himself he had hidden even from those he loved. When the last vision faded, Niera smiled. You have proven worthy. The final thread wove itself into Aaron's satchel, glowing with a brilliance that filled the cavern. As they emerged under the moonlit sky, the power of the Weaver's Pact surged within Aaron. Yet, with it came a revelation: the threads bound not just his fate, but the fate of all Zephyra. The rival clan, the Sharifs, would not rest. Darker forces stirred, and the true battle for the soul of the craft was only beginning. But for now, beneath the stars, Aaron felt the strength of legacy, friendship, and the endless possibilities woven into the future. The dawn light barely touched the horizon as Aaron, Sari, and Nadia made their way back to Zephyra, their satchels heavy with the 3 sacred threads. The air was thick with anticipation and an unspoken fear. The Pact's power surged within Aaron, but so too did the weight of its consequences. Back in the city, the Kader household was tense. Alim and Layla's proud smiles were tinged with worry. Omar paced, his jaw clenched, as news of the Sharif clan's movements grew ominous. That night, beneath a sky veiled in clouds, Aaron lay awake. Visions of Niara's trial haunted him, but a darker shadow loomed: the possibility of betrayal. Suddenly, a whisper echoed from the shadows of his room. "Do you truly know whom to trust?" Aaron bolted upright. Standing at the doorway was a figure cloaked in black. Salim, a distant cousin long estranged from the family, known for his ambition and cunning. "I have come with a warning," Salim said softly. "The Sharifs grow stronger, and they have allies within." Aaron's heart thundered. "What do you mean?" Salim stepped closer, eyes gleaming. "Not all Kaders are loyal to the Pact. Some seek power for themselves, even if it means tearing our family apart." Over the next days, a web of deception unfolded. Strange accidents plagued the workshop. Threads were sabotaged, whispers of sedition spread among the artisans. Aaron and Nadia began investigating, tracing the sabotage to a trusted family friend, Malik's agent in disguise. As tensions erupted, a secret council convened beneath the city. The Sharif clan, led by Malik, revealed their ultimate plan: to harness the sacred thread's power to control fate itself, bending not just carpets, but the lives of all Zephyra's people. The council's leader, a dark sorcerer named Zephyr, cast a shadow over the room, his voice dripping with menace. "The Pact's power will be ours. The Kaders will fall, and a new era will dawn." Faced with this threat, Aaron realized his journey was no longer just about mastering the loom but about protecting everything he loved. Gathering allies from both families, those who still believed in balance, he prepared for a confrontation that would decide the city's future. The night before the battle, Aaron found himself alone with Sari beneath the ancient olive tree in their courtyard. "Do you fear what's to come?" she asked softly. "Every moment," Aaron confessed. "But I will not let fear unravel us." Sari smiled, placing a steady hand on his shoulder. "Then weave your destiny, Aaron. The threads of fate are in your hands." As the city slept unaware, the stage was set. The final weaving had begun, a battle of power, loyalty, and the very soul of the Weaver's Pact. The night air was thick with tension as Zephyro lay cloaked in darkness. The city's ancient walls, which had withstood countless storms and sieges, now stood silently as witnesses to the brewing storm within. Inside the Cater household, candles flickered nervously, casting long shadows across the walls decorated with tapestries, silent sentinels of the family's legacy. Aaron sat cross-legged near the loom, the three sacred threads laid out before him like the strands of a fragile web. Beside him, Sari prepared the ceremonial dyes, their iridescent hues shimmering softly in the candlelight. Nadia sharpened her senses, alert for any disturbance, her eyes sharp and unwavering. Alim, though weary, stood resolute, ready to face whatever dawn might bring. The Sharif clan's machinations had forced the Caters to rally, uniting artisans and guardians alike in preparation for the inevitable confrontation. Yet, even as they fortified their defenses, whispers of betrayal haunted the air. Suddenly, a sharp knock shattered the fragile calm. Aaron rose cautiously, heart pounding. At the door stood a messenger, breathless, eyes wide with urgency. Malik's forces march at dawn. They have taken the northern gate and seek to claim the loom of fate itself. A heavy silence settled. This is no longer a battle for craft, Alim declared, voice steady. It is a fight for our very existence. As the family and allies readied themselves, Aaron felt the weight of destiny pressing down. The Pact had gifted him power, but now demanded sacrifice. In the early hours before dawn, the Caters gathered in the central hall. Aaron stepped forward, his voice clear despite the storm inside. We weave not just threads, but the future. If we falter, all we hold dear will unravel. With that, the family invoked the ancient weaving rites, chants echoing through the stone halls, threads glowing with ethereal light as they began a tapestry of protection and hope. Outside, the Sharif banners fluttered under the moonlight, and the first clashes rang through the city streets. Aaron fought alongside his brothers, Sari weaving shields of light that shimmered like spun silver, and Nadia guiding allies through hidden passages known only to few. Amidst the chaos, Aaron caught sight of Salim, the traitorous cousin, conspiring with Sharif agents. Betrayal cut deeper than any blade. With determination burning in his eyes, Aaron confronted Salim, weaving a spell that bound the traitor's hands with shimmering threads. Your greed unravels your soul, Aaron said, voice heavy with sorrow. As dawn broke, the battle reached its climax near the loom of fate, an ancient relic that held the power to reshape reality. Malik and Aaron faced each other, their wills clashing like titans. With a cry, Aaron summoned the strength of the three sacred threads, weaving a barrier that held back Malik's dark magic. But the cost was great. The threads glowed fiercely, and Aaron felt his strength wane. In a final desperate move, Malik lunged, but Sari intercepted, sacrificing herself to protect Aaron. Her last words echoed, "Weave your destiny, Aaron. For all of us." With tears blurring his vision, Aaron unleashed the full power of the loom, binding Malik and his dark magic, restoring balance but forever changed. The city stood battered but unbroken. As the sun rose, Aaron knelt beside Sari, vowing to honor her sacrifice and protect the Pact. The weaving of fate continued, a story of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bonds of family. The dawn after the battle was unlike any other in Zephyra's long history. The air was thick with dust and the scent of burnt wood, yet amidst the ruin, a fragile hope began to take root. Aaron stood amidst the remnants of the Cater workshop, his gaze heavy with grief and determination. The loss of Sari weighed on him like a shroud, but her sacrifice had sealed Malik's dark magic, restoring balance to the loom of fate for now. Layla approached quietly, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. She wove her spirit into the threads. Aaron, her legacy will live on through you. Inspired by her words, Aaron knew the journey was far from over. The Pact still called, whispering promises and warnings intertwined like the very threads of the loom. As the city slowly began to heal, strange phenomena began to ripple through Zephyra. Carpets in the marketplace shimmered with newfound life, patterns shifting subtly, colors deepening beyond natural hues. Some claimed to see figures moving within the weavings, others heard soft songs emanating from the rugs. Aaron, Nadia, and the remaining Cater artisans gathered to investigate these mysteries. They discovered that Sari's sacrifice had awakened an ancient power latent within the loom of fate, connecting the weavings to the very soul of the city. But this awakening had drawn attention not all benevolent. In the shadowed alleys, whispers spoke of a forgotten entity stirring beneath the city's foundations, the Weaver's Wraith, a malevolent spirit bound centuries ago, now awakening to reclaim the power it once lost. One evening, as Aaron studied the loom's ancient texts, the room grew cold. Shadows coalesced into a swirling mist, and a chilling voice echoed. "You have sealed Malik, but the true test awaits. The Pact's balance is fragile. Will you unravel, or will you weave anew?" Aaron's heart pounded as the Weaver's Wraith revealed itself, a dark, shifting form, eyes burning with ancient rage. With no time to lose, Aaron called upon the strength of the three sacred threads, weaving a protective cloak of light. Nadia chanted the old songs, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. The battle was unlike any before, magic and spirit intertwined in a dance of light and shadow. As the wraith surged, memories flooded Aaron's mind, his family's legacy, Sari's sacrifice, and the unyielding bond of friendship and hope. Drawing upon every ounce of courage, Aaron wove a tapestry of renewal, binding the wraith's fury and restoring peace to Zephyra's heart. Exhausted but victorious, the trio emerged as dawn broke anew. Though the loom of fate was safe, Aaron understood this was only the beginning of a much larger journey, one that would test the very fabric of his being and the future of all they cherished. The weeks that followed the defeat of the Weaver's Wraith were filled with both relief and unease. Zephyra's streets slowly healed, and the marketplace buzzed once again with life. Yet beneath the surface, unseen currents of power and ambition began to stir, threatening to unravel the fragile peace. Aaron spent his days in the Cater workshop, delving deeper into the ancient tomes left behind by generations of weavers. Each page revealed new secrets, forgotten rituals, complex patterns imbued with elemental magic, and warnings about the consequences of imbalance. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows through the workshop windows, a messenger arrived bearing an urgent summons. The city council had convened an emergency meeting to address troubling reports, rumors of unrest among the neighboring clans and strange disturbances in the far reaches of the desert. Alim gathered the family, the weight of responsibility clear in his eyes. "The pact is more than a family legacy," he said gravely. "It is a covenant that binds us all, and now more than ever, we must unite to protect it." That night, Aaron, Nadia, and a small group of trusted allies set out for the city hall, where representatives from the various clans had gathered. The air inside was thick with tension, old rivalries simmered beneath forced smiles. Malik's defeat had not extinguished his clan's ambitions. In fact, whispers told of a secret alliance between the Sharifs and dark sorcerers from distant lands, seeking to exploit the loom's power for their own ends. As Aaron stepped forward to speak, a sudden commotion erupted. A shadowy figure burst into the hall. It was Salim, the traitorous cousin, now revealed as a double agent working for the sorcerers. "Your time is over, Caters." Salim sneered. "The pact will fall, and with it, your precious city." Chaos erupted. Aaron and his allies fought to protect the council and maintain order. The battle spilled into the streets, weaving a tapestry of conflict that threatened to engulf the city. In the midst of the turmoil, Aaron felt a surge within the loom, a call to awaken the deeper magic of the threads. Guided by intuition, he began to weave a powerful enchantment, binding the elements of fire, earth, air, and water into a protective barrier around the city. The sorcerer's dark spells clashed against Aaron's weaving, lighting the night sky with bursts of color and sound. Amid the fight, Nadia uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the city of vault containing relics of the original pact makers. Inside lay the legendary heart thread, said to hold the power to unite or destroy. Realizing its importance, Aaron and his friends raced to claim the heart thread before their enemies could. Their journey led them through labyrinthine tunnels and forgotten crypts, where ancient traps tested their resolve and skills. As they approached the heart thread, a figure stepped from the shadows. Niera, the guardian of memories, returned with a dire warning. "The heart thread's power is immense," she said. "But it demands sacrifice. Use it wisely, or all will be lost." With the city under siege and the fate of the pact hanging by a thread, Aaron faced a choice that would define not just his destiny, but the future of Zafira itself. The air in the hidden vault was thick with ancient power, the very stones humming as Aaron, Nadia, and Niera stood before the legendary heart thread. It shimmered with an ethereal glow, neither gold nor silver, but a radiant blend of both, pulsing like a heartbeat. Niera's eyes locked on Aaron's. "The heart thread is the essence of the Weaver's Pact, the source of all magic that flows through your family's craft. But be warned, it requires a price. Only one pure of heart can wield its power without losing themselves." Aaron reached out, fingers trembling, and touched the thread. A surge of warmth and clarity filled him, visions of past weavers, battles fought, and sacrifices made. The loom was not just a tool, but a living force, a thread connecting every choice, every fate. Suddenly, the chamber trembled. The walls began to glow, and shadows spilled from the cracks, dark spirits, remnants of broken pacts, drawn to the heart thread's awakening. The group prepared to fight, but Niera raised a hand. This is not just a battle of strength but of spirit. The heart thread will test your very soul. One by one, the dark spirits attacked, probing fears and doubts. Aaron saw memories twist his fears of failure, the weight of his family's expectations, and the ever-present threat of betrayal. In this psychic battle, Nadia was nearly consumed by visions of losing Aaron, while Niera confronted echoes of her own forgotten past, scars of ancient betrayals. Drawing upon the lessons learned and the bonds forged, Aaron wove a tapestry of hope, weaving light into the threads, transforming fear into strength. The spirits recoiled, dissolving into the ether. But the battle left its mark. Aaron felt the heart thread's power seep into his very being, binding his fate to the pact in ways he could scarcely comprehend. As they emerged from the vault, dawn painted the sky in fiery hues. Yet, danger was far from over. News arrived that Malik Sharif had returned, more powerful and vengeful, allied now with the forgotten Dark Order sworn to unravel the very fabric of fate. The city braced for the storm. Aaron, now bearing the burden of the heart thread, understood that leadership meant sacrifice. He turned to Nadia. "We fight not just for our family, but for every thread woven into the city." She smiled, fierce and unwavering. "Together, we'll weave a future worth fighting for." And so, as shadows gathered and the loom of fate trembled, the true battle to save Zafira and the legacy of the Weaver's Pact began. The city of Zafira stood at the precipice of destiny. The loom of fate, glowing with the combined power of the three sacred threads and the heart thread, pulsed like a living heart beneath the ancient city. Its rhythm echoed through the streets, through the very souls of its people. Aaron Kader, now fully awakened as the weaver of fate, stood atop the highest tower, gazing out at the city he had sworn to protect. The weight of the pact was heavy on his shoulders, yet within him burned an unyielding fire, a determination to weave a future where light would triumph over shadow. The final battle loomed. Malik Sharif, emboldened by dark alliances and forbidden magic, had amassed his forces at the city gates. The air crackled with tension as the two clans prepared for the inevitable clash, a battle not just for power, but for the very essence of fate itself. As dawn broke, Aaron summoned the allies he had gathered, artisans, guardians, and even some who once stood uncertain. They formed a circle around the loom, chanting ancient incantations that wove protective spells into the very fabric of the city. Sari's spirit, now part of the loom itself, whispered encouragement through the threads. Nadia stood beside Aaron, her eyes fierce with resolve and hope. The gates burst open, and Malik charged forward, his dark magic swirling like a storm. Aaron met him in the center of the battlefield, their powers colliding in bursts of light and shadow. Aaron wove the threads of fate with unparalleled skill, each movement a symphony of magic and will. He channeled the strength of his ancestors, the sacrifice of Sari, and the hopes of all Zafira's people. Malik unleashed his darkest spells, but Aaron's weaving transformed them, turning curses into blessings, despair into hope. With a final, mighty weave, Aaron bound Malik's dark magic, sealing him within a tapestry, a prison woven from the very threads of fate. As silence fell, the city held its breath. The loom of fate glowed brighter than ever, its power now balanced and whole. Aaron turned to the people of Saphira, his voice carrying through the square. We are the weavers of our own destiny. Bound by threads of courage, love, and sacrifice, we will face whatever comes together. The crowd erupted in cheers, the city's spirit rekindled. In the days that followed, the Cater family rebuilt their workshop, weaving tapestries that told tales of bravery, unity, and the eternal dance of fate. Aaron, now a master weaver and guardian of the Pact, continued to learn and teach, guiding a new generation to honor the balance between craft and magic. And under the endless desert sky, where stars whispered ancient secrets, the tapestry of Saphira's future unfurled a living testament to the power of hope, sacrifice, and the unbreakable threads that bind us all. Title: The Weaver's Pact, a tale of fate, magic, and legacy. Description: Step into the ancient city of Saphira and embark on a captivating journey with Aaron Cater, a young boy destined to become the weaver of fate. Follow his path as he uncovers the mysteries of the Weaver's Pact, a powerful covenant that binds his family to the magical art of carpet weaving, entwined with ancient magic and cosmic forces. From treacherous deserts and enchanted forests to forgotten ruins and shadowed betrayals, Aaron must face relentless trials, forge unbreakable bonds, and confront dark enemies seeking to unravel the very threads of destiny. With the help of loyal friends and mystical guardians, he battles for the soul of his city and the legacy of his lineage. This epic fantasy story weaves together courage, sacrifice, and the profound power of hope, reminding us that the threads we choose to weave shape not only our lives but the future of all. Join the adventure, witness the battles, and discover the magic hidden within the loom of fate.